Welcome to Puerto Arenas, Chile. This is one of the southernmost cities here in Chile. We showed you the other one down near Ushuaia. This is a huge port city. And if you look out here, you'll see there's a cruise ship over there. There's one kind of offshore. And today we even saw one that we saw earlier over in Ushuaia. So definitely a very, very popular port here. One that cruise ships come in. They have some really cool experiences here with whales and other sea lice, penguins. We just showed you the king penguins right across the bay. But it's right here on the Magellan Strait. It is windy here. This is like one of the windiest cities in the world. Maybe like top 10 or something. But even though it's summertime here, it's also pretty chilly, and it's rained most of the day, and finally it's kind of cleared up a little bit. The sun's coming out. It's about 9 p.m. so the sun is still up. There's still quite a bit of daylight, and honestly it's kind of the prettiest part we've seen since we've been here. But along this Malecon, they have all sorts of cool statues and other things, and along with a lot of cool birds, and just the overall feel of the town is really cool.
We've been hearing the terrible rumors for 4 weeks or so since we've been back on the road, that the gas prices and the diesel prices in Chile were gonna hurt. So for our diesel, it is 1,215 Argentine pesos.
Chilean pesos.
Chilean pesos per liter. That is $1.50. So $1.50 a liter.
Oh yeah.
There are 4 liters in a gallon, so we're about to pay $6 a gallon for diesel fuel, and that is just about double
what we were paying in Argentina.
What we've been paying in Argentina.
And the most we have paid on the entire
whole
journey by far.
So here we go. Ouch.
All right, I just sent Snow on a mission while we wait in this diesel line right here for this expensive diesel. I sent her over to get me a couple Media Lunas to go with my coffee for this drive. But if you guys don't remember what Media Lunas are, they're like little croissants with a little light sugar glaze on them. They're so good. They're as good or better than Krispy Kreme donuts. But in any event, we're no longer in Argentina. They were world famous there as far as I'm concerned. But she's going to see if they have them here. Alright guys, while we're waiting here in line, let's check out these race cars right here. So there's Bebo Motors and Luchin. Look at those things. One's being towed behind a van, the other one's being pulled on a trailer.
We're on the road to the next destination. It's exciting times. It's time to explore some cool parts of Chile.
Alright, there is a new driver in town. Snow is gonna get us to the promised land.
Well, I'll get us a little bit down the road.
Meanwhile, kind of show you the way, maybe some of the countryside while I tell you the story. But I got to tell you what happened last night. So, we showed you the beautiful camp spot we had right there on the Malecon with the beautiful birds and all the stuff. But Snow was looking at the windy app, and it said that about 12 o'clock the wind was going to pick up. Sure enough.
Right on cue.
Right on cue it did. And the van started just rocking around, so we decided to move off of the waterfront to take shelter behind some buildings. We did. We found one not too far away. Easy peasy. Well, at about 3 a.m., as predicted in the app, the wind changed directions and picked up even more. We're talking about 30, 40 mile an hour sustained winds. I don't know what the maximum gusts were, but again, at about 3:30, the wind direction changed, and even where we were sitting, we started really getting whipped around. So we moved the van again. The plan was to have an edit day do a little bit of paperwork and stuff that we got to do here on Monday. But as frequently happens,
we got antsy. Headed the road.
The plans changed. Now we're headed up the road to another town about 2.5 hours. It is on the edge of one of the most popular national parks in all of Patagonia. So we're gonna head up there, settle in, get things figured out, because we've got an awesome destination in mind.
One thing I want to tell you guys about Punta Arenas as we're leaving kind of backs up what happened with the wind, and it'll tell you why I was searching the wind speeds anyway. Punta Arenas is literally one of the windiest cities in the entire world. If you average out the wind speed for the whole year, it is consistently, which this isn't very high, but for the whole year it's going to be always higher than like 15 miles an hour. But it can easily, routinely, and it is normal for it to get gusts up to 80 miles per hour, especially in the summertime, which it is summertime down here. So when we say the wind was whipping last night, it was really whipping. So that's a little interesting fact about that town. It was a beautiful town. The people were kind. We got some errands done. But with that wind, I'm ready to go.
The 5th windiest city in the world, guys. So we got the heck out of there. And the winds along the Magellan Strait continue. Snow gets the pleasure of white knuckling today. And we've had a big couple gusts. And if you guys remember, several episodes back, we were driving on a gravel road in the middle of nowhere. Big gust of wind came up, put us off in the soft stuff, and we got stuck for a couple days. So we got to be cautious. Woo, that was a little bit of a afternoon drive, about 3.5 hours. Down in the valley down over here, I see Puerto Natales, which is where we're headed. It's a little port town, and I can see, I mean, there's a huge mountain range out in front of us, and we've been coming through all this flat, pampa, you know, Patagonia land with sheep and reyes and all that stuff, and now all of a sudden, boom, here it is, the gateway to Torres del Paine. And G is ready to get there. We just rolled into Puerto Natales the back way, true overlanding style. We just topped off the fuel tank and also filled the water, so we've got fresh shower water, full tank. So we're looking for a place to park the van.
We camped last night by the city park in the center of this cute little town, Puerto Natales. Now this little town is known as the gateway to Torres National Park. I believe we've told you that. It's one of the most famous national parks in the world. And don't worry, we are headed there. But we've decided to take a little time and scope out what this town has to offer. It's got some cool artwork down here along the waterfront, but just like everything south of here so far, it is windy, which makes it cool, but it's okay. It's a beautiful day right now. The sun is shining. The weather does say it's going to rain. Off in the distance there is a rainbow. Hopefully it shows up on the camera for you guys. Tons of different kind of water birds right here on the beach, putting on a little show for us. The cool giant hand statues sticking up out of the ground. And then possibly what this little town, besides the national park, this is the second thing that this little town is most famous for, is the giant sloth. I called him a giant sloth because that's what he looks like to me, but his popular name in the scientific community is Mylodon darwini, and that is attributed to an English biologist that studied the remains of a jawbone that had been found by Charles Darwin. So this guy goes pretty far back. He eats plants and he's hairy. He can be 6 to 9 feet tall. He can weigh 1 ton, which is about 14 average people. He's lived all through South America, but what makes this little town famous is in 1896, the scientific community flipped out when some remains and his dwellings and stuff like that, a lot of theories were discovered in this area. And that is just a little bit of a spoiler alert for an upcoming video. We're maybe gonna take y'all and show you where this guy lived. All right, we wind down our little waterfront tour with these cool acrobat dudes swinging, and one's a lady, one's a man. I don't really know the story of them. I don't know if it's just art or if it has something to do with what happened here, but they're cool and they're out by the water. And then we've got a statue here with an explorer with the indigenous people of the past that used to occupy this area. So our plan is to tell you more about those people today. All right, we are learning our way around the Chilean grocery stores. It took us a while, but we found some soft cheese that does not have very much sodium or fat, so that is good news. I just found my walnuts and my almonds to go in with my oatmeal in the morning, and Kurt has alerted me that there's something up here to look at. Let's see. They have cereal with no sugar, low in sodium, has fiber, and contains probiotics. I'm totally buying some of this. Oh, they got cereal bars too. Let's get some. All right, new country, new hair shampoo and conditioner, but it holds true. Pantene has been available in every single country so far. So I don't need any now, but that's what I'll be sticking with. What do you got, Kurt?
Toilet paper.
Very important.
Sodium free. And
paper towels
without sugar.
Yes.
Lots of cat food.
Nice. Did you find some good crackers?
No
Sensol.
salt.
Nice. Did you get you some little
canned cat food?
All right.
We haven't had for a long time. Tomatoes, which we use for our sauces and stuff like that. So.
All right, so this has been a good grocery store except for produce.
Yeah.
We're still going to be on the lookout for somewhere to get produce, but we've been warned that it may be like it was over in southern Argentina. Not the best produce selections, but we'll see what we can find in town.
All right, it's $75,779, so about 90 bucks.
So the groceries are almost put away, but we are celebrating because what did you find, Kurt?
Garlic powder. And I use mostly fresh garlic, but sometimes it's nice just to add a little garlic powder. And so this is something I definitely wanted in the cupboards, but haven't had in like many countries. They'll have like flakes or something like that. So I'm excited. But I've been saving the shaker. So
He's going to fill the shaker. And we have not found our trusty drinks that we use. So I've got one of each flavor. They're made with stevia and there's no sodium. So we'll see which one's going to work for Chile. Groceries are put away, but the grocery shopping is not done. We need to find a vegetable market. There was literally almost no selection of anything in there except for buying like a 20-pound bag of onions, which we don't have room for. So grocery shopping continues. Another part of van life that we don't talk about a lot is we need to find somewhere to put our trash bag. We do our best to not produce a lot of trash, but you do, and we have some, and we need to find a proper home for the trash. Something you got to do. Find a place to throw away your trash, and in every new city and every new country, you're always looking for where to buy certain things. Van life, normal day stuff, huh, Curdy?
Yep, typical stuff in van life.
Let's go.
So, that has been our camp spot last night and will be tonight. Nice little park here. There's a hostel right here, but there are hostels all over in this. I bet there's like 20 or 30 hostels. And Snow and I are headed out. Where are we going, Snow?
We're going to a museum, which is not our normal gig, but I think we might find this one interesting. So let's go see.
Look at this menu, guys. Guanaco stewed, king crab au gratin, Patagonia lamb, local sea bass, calafate juice, and Chilean wines. And there are a lot of little artisanal restaurants and little stores and shops here. And it's a little, you know, we were kind of walking through a lot of backpackery areas. But this is a little bit hoity-toity through here. It's very nice. See here, Cerveza Austral. Ceviches, salmon. Look at that. Nice little place. But we are almost about to arrive at our destination.
During the 1800s, the indigenous people from the Patagonia region of South America, which includes parts of Argentina and Chile, started down a journey that is truly a hard story to share with you guys. But I'm going to try. First, let's back up to when explorers first arrived, like the famous Ferdinand Magellan in 1520, who is famous for discovering the Straits of Magellan. He actually named this large island at the bottom of South America Tierra del Fuego, or Land of Fire, because of all the fires he could see from the shore. These were the fires of the indigenous people, signs that life already existed on this land. Then the European settlers began to slowly move to the area, and by the 1820s, the British survey ship, the Beagle, arrived, and soon after the area began to experience mass colonization for seal hunting, whale hunting, and gold mining. By the late 1800s, sheep farming was introduced to the area, and the performance of these ranches far exceeded anyone's expectations. So more ranches appeared, because more and more sheep were needed in order to satisfy the needs of the powerful European textile industry. This is when the indigenous people began to really feel the impacts of colonization. The people who originally inhabited this land for over 1,000 years were persecuted, deported to missions, savagely hunted by mercenaries that were hired by the sheep ranchers. These mercenaries brought in Mastiff dogs from Europe to help find and round up the indigenous people, who were then killed by firing squad, if the dogs had not already killed them. I'm going to say that again. Mercenaries were hired by the ranchers to bring in Mastiff dogs to hunt and kill all of the indigenous people so that they could have bigger ranches and raise more sheep, so that people in Europe and in the United States could have nicer clothes. It gets worse. In the 1800s, 11 indigenous people from several different tribes, including children, were captured and taken on a famous world tour, literally displayed like animals, hailed as the last step of human evolution. They sold tickets to see them in zoos and on stages in theaters. They kept them in cages and literally displayed them like animals. This happened all across Europe, in places like Paris, Berlin, Switzerland, and the United States participated as well, with displays taking place in St. Louis. Unfortunately, most of them died from starvation or disease, but not before being exploited and inhumanely researched by scientists around the world. This Sioux story might have been hidden from history, if not for a Chilean historian who accidentally stumbled upon a photo and began to do research. It took him more than 8 years, but he found the truth and worked hard until most of the remains were located and returned to their ancestors in 2008. Extensive research by governments has been done as well to document the genocide of these tribes. And this museum in this small little town, this small little tourist town in southern Chile, is doing its best to bring awareness to the history of these people. In 2006, when the last census was done, less than 15 full-blooded indigenous people from this area remained, and it is believed that today there are none left. An entire group of people wiped off of the planet for profit and power. This is definitely a very dark spot in the history of man.
So we both kind of came out of there. Well, let's back up. We both went in there super excited to learn some history. We kind of seen some of the tribal things and some of the history around town. And we came out of there and it was just so sad and humbling. But sort of to hear how a people are just genocide and taken out of existence.
Not that long ago, a whole group of people wiped out. They don't exist anymore.
They just came in and killed them so they could have this land for the sheep and for the wool trade. They brought the beavers in, they brought the fox in. Yeah,
it's we gotta shake it off because now we're gonna go have a coffee and wait for our restaurant that we're very excited about, that we're having dinner at, to open. So let's go see some more of this cute little town. All right, coffee time. Hola. Popped in there to get a couple of questions answered on a hike Curt's wanting to do. Ended up leaving with a really epic tour planned for the end of next week. And got an invite to go to a Chilean farm and have a big lamb barbecue at her family's restaurant and farm. Now the farm is private. She will meet us tomorrow and let us follow her out there to unlock the gate for us. She even said we can spend the night out there. And guys, this is right on the edge of Torre del Paine, one of the most beautiful places on the planet. So now, date night continues, and our restaurant should be open, we hope, because it's starting to sprinkle. So let's go have some dinner. Our restaurant that I had picked out with a really yummy menu that would have worked for me and Curt is not open. The website said 6. It's almost 6:30, so it's not just that they were open a little late. It's locked up tight. Working on a plan B.
So this area has a sort of a really nice downtown walking area. There's lots of artisanal shops, lots of hostels, as we said, lots of tourism. People come here to go up to the national park. That being said, it is pricey here. So meals, expect to pay $15 to $20 and more for like a basic meal when you come here. We already told you fuel is $6 a gallon. We've been warned that Chile's expensive. Now we're kind of down in the remote regions. There's not a lot down here. We're hoping it gets a little more cost effective as we go north, but we'll see.
Our plan B dinner turned out to be nice. Nothing fancy, just kind of a local little burger joint where Curt got a giant plate with chicken and some beef on it and some french fries and a fried egg.
It was good.
And I got a salad and some mashed potatoes with no salt.
We didn't eat hardly any of the potatoes. We got like potatoes for days.
So, and it was a nice atmosphere. The young man working in there was a nice guy. So, now we're gonna walk back to our van. Get ready for bed. Tired. I just looked to see I did almost 8,000 steps already, so, and over 3 miles of walking today.
And we've covered a lot of territory in the last few days. 2 cities, our first few days in Chile, and I gotta tell you, we are excited for what's about to come next.
I can see our van.
But you guys are gonna have to catch us on the next episode.
We'll see you guys in a few days for some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Cheers. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you guys know when we put out new videos. And don't forget, you can always follow us over on Instagram to see what's going on in between videos. Cheers, guys.